Namaskar. आजच्या या विशेष भागात welcome to the masterclass. If you've ever felt like your own brain is literally working against your biggest, most important ambitions, you are exactly in the right place. Today, we're exploring a brilliant, time-tested philosophy that acts as a biological brain hack. It's designed to end laziness and just crush procrastination once and for all. We're going to break down the Japanese philosophy of Kaizen, diving into the fascinating science and history behind why doing less actually helps you achieve so much more.
Okay, let's dive into this. Because I know we have absolutely all been there, right? You set this massive, life-altering goal for the new year. You go out, you buy that insanely expensive premium gym membership, you order this huge, towering stack of self-improvement books that, let's be real, ultimately just end up acting as very expensive coffee coasters. And for those first 3 days, you are practically vibrating with motivation. You are a totally new person. But then, day 4 hits. You're a little tired, the weather outside is terrible, your bed is just so warm, and before you know it, bam, you've slipped right back into your old habits, feeling incredibly guilty and defeated. So why does this exact cycle happen to us over and over again?
Well, the core problem is that we rely entirely on motivation. But here is the hard, biological truth of the matter. Motivation is inherently temporary. It's just a fleeting emotion based on how you feel in any given moment. It's driven by these sudden dopamine spikes that inevitably always crash. And when you rely on a temporary chemical feeling in your brain to do really hard things, you're going to fail the second that feeling fades. Consistency, on the other hand, is permanent. It's a systemic discipline that honestly doesn't care about your mood. So our goal today isn't to get you temporarily hyped up. Nope, it's to help you build permanent, unshakable consistency.
To get us there, we've got a very clear roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll uncover why habits break. Second, the Japanese secret of Kaizen. Third, the magic of the 1% rule. Fourth, 3 powerful rules of Kaizen. And finally, 1 small daily change.
So, let's jump right into Section 1, Why Habits Break, and the silent sabotage of the overthinking mind.
Look, when you set a massive, life-changing goal, you probably think you're being super ambitious, right? But your brain doesn't actually see it as an exciting opportunity. Not at all. It sees it as a terrifying threat. Your brain is evolutionarily wired to conserve energy for survival, so when you look at that massive mountain you have to climb, your amygdala, which is basically your brain's internal alarm system, triggers a massive fear response. It literally sees this huge goal as a dangerous waste of precious calories. Immediately, overthinking takes control. You start agonizing over how much time it's going to take, how painfully hard it will be, what terrible things will happen if you fail. And this mental paralysis, it leads directly to procrastination. So laziness isn't a character flaw. It's not a moral failure. Biologically speaking, it's often just your brain's defense mechanism against the overwhelming fear of a giant goal.
Now, how do we sneak past that biological fear response? That brings us to Section 2, Kaizen, the Japanese secret.
This concept is beautifully detailed in Sarah Harvey's book on the subject, and it shifts us straight from our evolutionary problem to an incredibly elegant solution. Kaizen is a Japanese philosophy that translates simply to change for the better. But its true life-altering power lies in its practical application, continuous incremental self-improvement. See, Kaizen is the exact opposite of our Western hustle culture. It isn't about radically changing your entire life overnight or burning yourself out grinding 24/7. It actively rejects the loud, flashy hype of sudden transformations. Instead, it's this permanent, quiet, humble system of making things just a tiny bit better, day after day. It requires a fundamental mindset shift where you accept slow, unglamorous progress. And by doing that, you effectively bypass that primal fear response in your brain because the changes are just too small to trigger the alarm.
And this brilliantly illustrates the immense world-shifting power of this concept. Kaizen isn't just some cute self-help theory. It has undeniable historical proof. Following the total devastation of World War II, Japan was a broken nation. Their economy, factories, infrastructure completely decimated. But they didn't try to magically rebuild everything in a single day. By adopting the principles of Kaizen, specifically championed by companies like Toyota, who revolutionized their operations by empowering workers to make tiny, incremental improvements to the factory floors, supply chains, everything, they totally transformed. Little by little, every single day, without fail, they compounded these tiny tweaks until they became a global economic powerhouse in the modern era. They literally rebuilt an entire devastated nation using nothing but incremental change. Mind-blowing, right?
So how do you translate rebuilding an entire nation into rebuilding your morning routine? Welcome to Section 3, the 1% improvement rule.
1%. That is literally all you need. The absolute magic of Kaizen, on a personal level, is committing to just a 1% improvement each day. Now, why does this work so flawlessly? Because 1% is so profoundly small, so laughably easy, that it completely sneaks past your brain's fear radar. Your overthinking amygdala simply doesn't panic at a 1% change. It's not going to trigger procrastination if your goal is just to drink one single extra glass of water, or leave one single bite of food on your plate, or playfully floss just one single tooth. But mathematically, the compounding interest of this is absolutely staggering. If you manage to get just 1% better every day for a year, you end up 37 times better by the time the year is done. The secret to massive success is flying completely under the radar of your own biological resistance.
Now that we deeply understand the math and the science behind it, let's put it into practice with Section 4, the 3 powerful rules of Kaizen.
I'm going to reveal the exact actionable framework you can apply to your everyday life right now. The framework is beautifully, refreshingly simple. Step 1, break down your goals. Step 2, ask positive questions. And Step 3, celebrate your small wins. Together, these 3 steps act as the ultimate neurological hack to build lifelong discipline without ever feeling exhausted. Let's look closely at each one.
Now, what's really interesting about this first rule is how it completely disarms your brain. Rule 1, break your goals into impossibly tiny pieces. This attacks procrastination exactly at its root. Think about it. If your goal is to read a dense, 300-page book, your brain will resist the sheer calorie expenditure of that massive task. So, you must shrink it. Tell yourself you only have to read one single paragraph a day. If you want to start working out, absolutely do not commit to a brutal 1-hour gym session. Commit to doing exactly 2 push-ups. The genius here is that it takes vastly more mental energy to argue with yourself about doing 2 push-ups than it does to just drop down and do them. By dividing a daunting task into a micro-task, you make it so ridiculously easy that you literally can't say no. And once you start, the friction is gone and momentum naturally takes over.
Moving on to Rule 2. Ask small, positive questions. You know, our internal dialogue is so often highly toxic and negative. We say things like, why am I so lazy? Or why can't I focus for 5 minutes? But these questions only fuel the overthinking mind. You have to remember that your brain is the ultimate problem-solving machine. If you ask it a toxic question like, why am I a failure? It's going to actively search your memories for evidence to prove that you are indeed a failure. Kaizen flips the script entirely. Instead, ask yourself highly specific, tiny, positive micro-questions. What is one small thing I can do right now to make my desk 1% cleaner? Or what is a simple 2-minute action I can take today to improve my health? Feed your internal supercomputer positive, manageable questions, and it will effortlessly hand you productive, actionable answers.
And Rule 3 is absolutely crucial to making all of this permanent. Celebrate small wins. In our society, we usually wait until we've lost exactly 20 pounds or finished the entire grueling project to finally feel proud of ourselves. While Kaizen says absolutely no to this delayed gratification. You must celebrate the tiny milestones. Did you read that one single paragraph? Celebrate it. Did you drink a glass of water instead of a sugary soda? Acknowledge it. Pat yourself on the back. Why? Because neurologically, celebrating creates a powerful dopamine loop in your brain. Dopamine acts as the literal save button for new habits. By celebrating, you're chemically reinforcing the behavior, teaching your brain that this tiny action feels incredibly good. And that builds unstoppable momentum and effortless discipline over time.
All right, let's tie all of these powerful concepts together into a single, cohesive philosophy for your life. In Section 5, one small daily change.
So the crucial point is captured perfectly in this quote. Big change doesn't happen in a day. It is created through small, consistent daily actions. Remember those expensive gym memberships and those massive stacks of books acting as coasters from the beginning of this masterclass? You don't ever have to be that person again, trapped in a cycle of hype and failure. Because consistency will always beat intensity. Stop trying to overhaul your entire life by tomorrow morning. It just doesn't work, and evolutionary biology proves it. Instead, embrace the quiet, humble, steady power of Kaizen. Allow yourself to grow slowly, systematically, and permanently. Which leaves us with the most important question of this entire deep dive. As we wrap up, I want you to genuinely ask yourself this. What is the one small habit you will start today? Not tomorrow, not next Monday, today. What is that 1% improvement that is so tiny, so ridiculously, hilariously easy that you absolutely cannot fail? Decide what it is right now, hack your brain, bypass the fear, and take that step. Thank you so much for joining me, and I absolutely cannot wait to see the massive, life-altering changes your tiny habits will eventually create.